Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, once again to Virtual Racing Network. We have yet another great race in store for you here tonight, as it has been a pretty good sized practice here, and drivers have come in from all over the place. We have 26 drivers here for tonight's race. We'll see if a few more do pop in here in just a little bit before qualifying. We have 5 minutes to go. Before we do that, though, we want to thank all of the partners and sponsors that have come on board here for this race and the broadcast. As always, here on the racing side of things, a big shout out to Dan Butler Designs coming on board here just recently. Leo's Coney Island out of Rochester Hills, and of course iRacing Drivers World, all general sponsors here for tonight's race. And the presenting sponsor here for tonight's race and this series, that is Global Building Contractors. This is the Global Building Contractors Xfinity Series. Definitely check these guys out. You've probably been in quite a few restaurants and buildings that they help with. They had a hand in, so make sure you check them out. Just Google Global Building Contractors, and you'll be surprised where you've been that they had a hand in helping with. And of course, on the broadcast side of things, we have a few partners as well, starting with Walls Beard Co. Beard Balm. If you have a beard, you need to take care of it. There is no better way to do so than to go to wallsbeardco.com, all natural and organic products, so make sure you check them out today. SimSpeedShop.com, your one-stop shop for custom-made button boxes and e-brakes for you rallycross racers. So head on over to SimSpeedShop.com and check them out and get one or both of those items today. Northwest Racing Series, we cover them on Wednesday night and Monday night. They are also the official one-to-go sponsor here for tonight's race, so make sure you do check them out on, again, Monday and Wednesday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. And, of course, Ohio IndyCar League. If you're looking to get into some IndyCar racing, there's no better place to go than Ohio IndyCar League. You can get all the latest information on Facebook by going to facebook.com/Ohio IndyCar League. And last but not least, that is iBog, iRacing Broadcast Overlay Graphics, your sim race broadcast graphic source. If you're looking to get into broadcasting or just need some overlays for streaming, there is only one place to go, and that is ibog.co. You can get a hold of Jason Allison to get those overlays started today. That will do it here for the sponsors. Of course, before we get into all of the qualifying and all of that good stuff in the national anthem coming up next, this is a 65-lap race here at Daytona under the lights here tonight. Again, that'll be about 163 miles, roughly, just actually a little under 163 miles. But for all intents and purposes, it will be scored as 163 miles here tonight. 55 miles per hour on pit road. That is going to be a chore for these guys. You're going to drop almost 150 miles per hour to get on pit road, as they're going to be excess of 100 or 200, probably almost close to 204, maybe 205 miles per hour when they are at full speed, which will take them a lap or two to get there. We will see a lot of drafting tonight. Will we see the big one? That is something we will be waiting to see, but it is that time once again to get to the national anthem, as we will be right back after your national anthem with qualifying.
We take you down onto the track for our opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Please remove your hats.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets its red glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like Mikey Neal is going to be the first one we see on the track. So we are going to drop down with him and pull up your driver bar information so you'll see exactly what position he will be starting in. As right now, nobody has officially put in a timed lap. They have 4.5 minutes to get out there. No surprise that most everybody is coming out onto the track. This is a brand new series here for 12 weeks. So we have no EOLs. But to run down exactly how it's going to go down here tonight, as you see Mikey Neal running as high as he can on the track. For anyone that's unfamiliar with this track and how you qualify at Daytona, you will run this high line to get the momentum, and then eventually you will see him come down to the bottom of the track. It will not be on this lap. It will be on his next lap. As you see, he is going to stay above that yellow or white line there, above the yellow too, but above the white line, and he will get it as close to the wall as he can to try to build all the momentum he can. Next time by, as we'll stay with him, he will dip down and go as close to that yellow line as he can to start his actual fast lap, as we call it, or heater lap, where they actually try to put in a fast time. So that is something we are going to be watching for when he does that. Again, nobody has put in an official lap yet. Mikey Neal going to be one of the first ones to do so here, as he is coming up on lap number 1, and there you see it. He's going to dive to the bottom, and he will put in a 50.688. That will put him in 4th, as Alex Huffman is going to take to the top, and now it's going to be a new driver here of Clarence coming in here. Hopefully you will get a pronunciation on that last name. I'm going to assume that is pronounced... I'm not sure. We'll have to get a clarification on that. But either way, Clarence in the 24 is your fastest driver right now with 50.117. So definitely a very fast machine coming in here for tonight's race. And if I was a betting man, I would say he was probably a teammate with another driver in here who is not on the track right now. I don't see him. We'll see if we can find him at the moment. I don't see him there, but Alex Huffman going to take it back to the top of the charts in that 83 machine with a 49.732. Trevor Graffam right behind him with a 49.763, as now Brian Bissell's going to take it to second with a 49.735. Minute 45 to go. We'll go ahead and put your top 20 times up on the chart, and we'll see just where everyone stacks up. Jeremy Evans now to third with a 49.759, and he's going to bring it to a stop. So we'll see over here. James Morgan currently 4th fastest, as he will bump Trevor Graffam down one spot. And now Sal Casey going to take it to the top in that number 40 machine with a 49.719. So very, very fast run for him. And something's going wrong here with that top 20. Not sure what's going on there, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of that, as I'm not sure exactly what is going on. But a minute left here. We'll see. So far, Scotty Zerk back in 17th. Nobody else is out on the track that has not put a lap in yet. Bryson Parker, Reese Milton, Jameer Muhammad, Brian Dorsey, Mike Taylor, Dennis Ellis, Tyler Rowland, Matthew Ellis and David Gainforth have not put times in. 43 seconds left to go. They are not going to have time to do so, as we'll go ahead and get rid of that driver bar. We'll see. Scotty Zerk is going to run a 49.938. That will put him in 15th place. 28 seconds to go. We're going to step away, get ready for the Walls Beard Co. starting grid. We will be right back here with your starting grid coming up in just under 20 seconds. All right, we will get this thing started here, as we're going to get to your Walls Beard Co. starting grid. We're going to get to it very quickly. Here it is, pulling up on your charts. Row 1 is going to be the 91 of Jim Walking, getting the pole here at the very last second. After it was closing down on his outside, is going to be the 40 of Sal Casey. Row 2 is going to be the 83 of Alex Huffman and the 28 of Brian Bizzle. Row 3 is going to be the 4 of Jeremy Evans and the 12 of James Morgan. Row 4 is going to be the 47 of Trevor Graffam and the 24 of Clarence Bonner. I believe that is how you said it was pronounced. Row 5 is going to be the 75 of Bill Edwards and the 21 of Dan Butler. Row 6 is going to be the 45 of Brian Jones and the 8 of Mikey Neal. Row 7 is going to be the 51 of Brandon Young and the 64 of Tony Rice. Row 8 is going to be the 31 of Scotty Zerk and the 99 of Justin Starr. Row 9 is going to be the 13 of James Zarello and the 2 of Jameer Muhammad, the first one not taking a time here in qualifying. Row 10 is going to be the 84 of Bryson Barker and the 76 of Reese Milton. Row 11 is going to be the 9 of Brian Dorsey and the 11 of Dennis Ellis. Row 12 is going to be the 56 of Mike Taylor and the 101 of David Gainforth. In row 13, it is going to be the 14 of Tyler Rowland and the 6 of Matthew Ellis. And that will do it here for your Walls Beard Co. starting grid, as Jim Walking is going to be the one starting this race here tonight. And it looks like we have a very special guest here in the booth with us.
Oh, special guest status now. That's what I get, huh? How's it going, Charles?
It is going good, just getting this thing started, as they just literally took the green flag. We have 25 drivers that started this race. It is a packed field here at Daytona.
Yeah, 25 drivers at Daytona, this crew. Looking forward to it. These guys, always put on good shows. Matter of fact, I think last year I watched one race go green flag all the way at Daytona, and I believe it might have been these guys. So we should be in for some fantastic racing tonight.
Yeah, we definitely are going to be in for some great racing. And we'll see here. We're going to have to keep an eye. I believe it's the 24 of a brand new driver, Clarence. And there's a 56, if I find out where he's at the moment. There he is. I believe there's Mike Taylor. I'm not 100% certain, and we're going to have to pull one of them to a booth if we get a caution here. They are both running, looks like claw marks on their hood and Race Spot TV on the thing. And I know, obviously, we don't want to promote our competitors, but I I believe they actually may be physically sponsored by RaceBot. I know there was a sponsor on there called Beast Racing, so and it had that same similar logo. So those two are teammates, I think, and if that is them, that is actually a real racing team too. So I definitely would like to have a talk with him if we get a chance to see if that is indeed a real racing team.
Well, you got two cars running a similar paint scheme, running in the same place together on the track. It'd be quite coincidental if they weren't on the same team. So definitely got to ask, but I think it's probably a safe assumption that these guys are working together in some way, shape, or form. Now, whether or not they are paid by RaceBot to run their logos or anything, I don't know. But the question is, are these two guys working together? I'd say odds are they are.
Yeah, and what makes it strange here is one qualified, one didn't. So that really throws a loop in things. But we'll see. It is Daytona, so qualifying really doesn't mean a whole lot except for really your pit stop. If you have to do it under green or even under yellow, where you're going to get to pit at, how close you are to the front. But as far as the actual racing, give them 2 or 3 laps, you can be up at the front just like that. Just depends on who you work with and how well they work with you to get to the front.
Well, Daytona's a little bit of a different beast than Talladega. We don't we don't as easily get that third line, so we got to work a little bit harder to get up front here at Daytona. Sometimes it takes a few more than 2 laps, especially if that second line just kind of gets stalemated there and nobody's cycling forward. But we can certainly, if that outside line gets moving and we start cycling guys in front, we can move up to the front rather quickly.
Yeah, you definitely can. And this particular league, compared to another one we do that's all super speedways, they do not have a 3-wide rule in place. They can go 3 wide if they choose to. Like you said, it's harder here. This track is a little skinnier than something like Talladega, but it can be done. We saw it in practice, so they can go 3 wide. And I know everyone out there, all the fans, whether it's sim racing or real life, the question they're wondering in their mind is the same question we're wondering, is if and when we will or maybe not see the big one tonight.
Well, the thing about 3 wide at Daytona, it's never really can you go 3 wide. It's for how long can you go 3 wide, right? 3 wide's not going to last very long at Daytona. Track's just too narrow. You got to have some guys that just aren't moving much. So, short of maybe some of these peak antifreeze drivers and some of the highest splits out there in iRacing, you don't often see 3 wide here at Daytona for very long be successful. So, way too early to be thinking 3 wide right now. I think it's just all about finding a place where you're comfortable running and you think you can keep a clean car. Yeah,
it definitely is. And so far, they're doing a good job of that. We're 6 laps in here, and they're going 2 wide. Again, we saw a chat there comment 2 wide. Too early to go 3 wide. I definitely agree with that. And these guys are really good about not pushing things too early here. They're just going to sit back, relax. And we're seeing a different strategy. I know in the Xfinity series on Sunday when they were running, you saw Mikey Neal, Jamir Muhammad up front, qualifying up front and staying up front quite a bit. Right now, Mikey Neal's back in 16th. Jamir Muhammad's all the way back in 20th. Jamir was the first one to not take a qualifying time. So 2 very fast drivers in the back. Again, it doesn't really matter too much that they're back there. But the fact that Jamir didn't qualify is kind of questionable. I'm not sure if maybe he just missed it or if he deliberately chose to not qualify.
Well, that's a really tough one here to say. I think you know where I stand on that. I'm absolutely going to run a qualifying lap unless I know I can't get up front. I want to be in the very front of the very back. I don't want to be in the middle. That just to me is not a comfortable place to cruise around for 60 laps because you'll get some guys that get real aggressive, wanting to get up front before you do. Come a lot of times run you over from behind, or you're not far enough back and you get caught up in any of the wrecks that happen up front. They come back and collect you. So I'm not a fan of running around in the middle at all. But sometimes that's just kind of the the hand you're dealt, and you got to make the best of it. In which case, look for some friendly faces and go run next to them.
Yeah, definitely want to find some friendly faces to take you to high places. That's pretty much how you got to do it here at Daytona, Talladega Super Speedways like this. Again, and this kind of sets the tone for the season here. This is race number 1 of only 12 weeks. So, you know, you really want to do a good job of, you know, obviously you want the win, but if I'm these guys, someone like Jim Locking, Dan Butler, that are around 5th, 6th place right there, even up to 10th place, you know, you don't want to say be content with a place like that, but really if you can get a top 5, maybe a top 10, that is a good way to start off a points battle here for the first race of the season, compared to trying to push it too hard and finishing all the way back and say 25th, because that is going to be a huge deficit to come back from in a short season like that.
Yeah, a couple things I want to point out real quick before I get back to that. We mentioned that we had the 56 and the was it the 34? I can't remember the two cars.
24.
Well, we've got 3 cars here running the claw paint jobs. We've got the 24 up front on the outside line, but we've got the 56 and the 14 behind him also running that paint job. So the 24 Clarence Bonner, not somebody we mentioned in that group. So first thing is I think we got 3 of these guys here running together here, at least running the similar paint schemes. Look like they might be working together. And then as to your comment about points racing here, I don't know how you can go into Daytona with a mindset of points racing. I view Daytona, Talladega as survival. Keep that car clean at all costs. And then, you know, if you do that, you'll have a good finish at the end of the race. Just you know, as far as not like a 1.5-mile track or something where I can go tuck into 5th place and find myself a nice little patch of green to run in all by myself and not be around anybody and just kind of cruise a nice 5th place finish. It just doesn't work that way here. You're going to be around cars. So it's first and foremost, I think everybody's just thinking about keeping that car in one piece out there.
Yeah, and to talk about keeping it clean, so I'm going to lose my voice here a little bit. One thing you really have to remember here is, you know, you hate to say it, but kind of what goes around comes around is you've got to race people friendly here, and you've got to work with people a little bit. They will remember this come next week, potentially when you're going a lap down or you need someone to help you out a little bit. This is a race that can potentially affect your career in the other races, as other people could, you know, if you leave them out to dry. Racers have a very long memory here, and they can remember that. So you definitely have to be nice to people around you.
Well, I know when I race super speedways, I've certainly got a mental checklist of who I'm going to work with and who I'm not. Who can I trust and who am I going to bail on, right? I mean, okay, he's going to bail on me first chance he gets, so why wait around? I'll bail on him first chance I get, right? You know, whereas somebody else that you've worked with in the past or whatever, maybe not even on your team, you're willing to stick with them a little bit longer and hang in there and reciprocate a little bit because they've done it for you in the past. So I agree with that one.
Yeah, definitely something you don't want to have any bad news coming your way because you left someone out here. But that 24 of Clarence, he's not, he doesn't have his teammates around him yet. However, he's doing very good, but don't count his teammates out of this just yet. As we talked about them, they are coming up very quickly here. While they're, back somewhere, if I can find them. They weren't too far back here. The 14, there he is. The 56 back in 14th, but that's only about 4 rows back. So they are catching up to him, and here shortly they may be there. If you get those 3 cars together, that will be a very good little draft group there. And while right now 3 cars obviously isn't much compared to maybe 8, 9 on the bottom, once pit stops happen, if those are under green and they get spread out a little bit, 3 cars versus maybe 1 or 2 somewhere else definitely could play in your favor.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I start looking up front who's working together. You know, I haven't been here with these races weekly like I was in the past, so I'm not sure who I was working with who now, but if we just look at TeamSpeak and who's grouped up, we got Justin Starr getting pretty close to Brian Bizzle there, who's on the outside leading that outside front row. So there are two veterans of the league and two guys hanging out in the same TeamSpeak room. So, yeah, you know, I would expect them to be willing to work together and then, you know, keeping an eye on Alex Huffman and Mikey Neal, see if they can get paired up with either of these two. But yeah, plate racing like this, I think it's definitely about having guys that you can work with, man. Sometimes they're not your teammates, they're just next to you and you got to work with them, but man, it's a lot easier if they're your teammates and you can trust them.
Yeah, definitely. You'd rather have teammates around you that you know you can trust. Here we are on lap 16 of 65, caution-free so far, and we'll see. We very well could go caution-free. Weather will do it. I say it's probably about a 50-50 shot, maybe 70-30 if we'll actually go caution-free. But, like you said, we have seen this league go caution-free before, so it could be done. They are very skilled drivers, so it's possible to go caution-free, and really, I think if we're going to see a caution, we may see one early in the race, but I think we'll start to see those caution chances as we talk about it. There it goes.
Evans, got into somebody there. He got loose, hit somebody, put them in the wall. 4-car Jeremy Evans. I don't know if he hit the wall, but he definitely got loose and hit another car.
And we're going to have some black flags out of this as we're going to go back and watch the replay. We have Mikey Neal, 0.3 seconds on pit road. Scotty Zerk, Tony Rice. Also Dan Butler and Tyler Rowland. Also, they were on pit road for about 0.1 to 0.6 seconds, which probably means they may get an unsafe pit entrance since they were shooting through the grass. As we're watching the 4, the 21, the 45, the 56 got involved, the 14 hard, as that took out a huge chunk of the back of this field.
Yeah, that's what we talked about, not liking to be in the middle. Or, you know, I mean, wrecks happen up front. You guys are racing a little bit harder. They're trying to get to the front, and they collect everybody on the way back. In that instance, Dan Butler got into that rear quarter there of Jeremy Evans, or Jeremy Evans got into the front quarter of Dan Butler's. However you want to see that. Two parts of the car met there that didn't get along, you know, two corners of the car, and Jeremy Evans goes spinning up into the wall, comes back down, and collects a bunch of guys. And, you know, if you're running around in the middle or even the back of that pack, you've got to avoid cars because they're going to be strewn all over the track, sideways, bouncing off the wall, coming up the track, coming down the track, and you know, you end up collecting a lot of cars, just like we saw there.
Yeah, and to note here, for anyone that doesn't know this series, we did get the confirmation. They have no drop weeks in this. They have a 17-point incident limit with no fast repairs. So if you were just involved in that and got a ton of damage, your night just came to a very quick end as far as getting the win. You may be able to get back out there, but getting a win is going to make it a little bit shorter here. But it looks like everybody's coming down pit road. I want to talk to Mike Taylor, who actually finished in the top 3. I believe he won on Sunday. I'm not sure. I can't remember if he won or was in the top 3. Either way, we did talk to him. So we'll see where he's at, and once pit stops are complete, I want to pull him down here and get a word in with him to see if those guys are officially are on the same team. Obviously, we are pretty much confident they are, and what his point of view was, too, is he was involved in that wreck, but it looks like the front of his car is mostly okay.
Yeah, I see the 14, though, one of those teammates, Tyler Rowland, he was smoking pretty heavily coming down pit road, so I think he got collected. Not sure if it's terminal, but he's been on pit road for a minute and a half, so as far as a good finish in this race goes for him, it's terminal.
Yeah, definitely, and we actually have him here with us, so let's pull him down, actually, as he got the worst end of that, so we'll pull him down real quick. Tyler, you got a copy? Well, Well, hopefully we can get a word in with him. He may have stepped away. Tyler, you got a copy? Well, it looks like he has probably stepped away due to having to be towed. So we'll go up here to the 56 of Mike Taylor, who is just pulled out of pit road. So we'll see if we can't get him down here real quick. Mike Taylor, you got a copy?
That I do.
All right. Well, first off, welcome back to the boots, as we just talked to you, I believe, on Sunday. So a few questions here, myself, and then Jeff may have some for you. First off, we see you've got the little claw marks on there. So we saw that same looking symbol on the RACECORE website. So are the team that's on their website and your team the same?
Yes, that's right. We are part of Beast Racing. Myself, Tyler Rowland, and Clarence Bonner. We are sponsored by RaceSpot TV. And I'm just glad to be back here on Tuesday night.
Well, at least, yeah, I saw that. It's I think it said something. It's an actual karting team. Is that what it was?
Yeah, one of our members, well, two of our members are actually a karting team, so which is actually pretty cool. But we are a official iRacing team.
Well, definitely cool. And on to the actual racing side of things, get your point of view. I know your teammate Tyler got heavy damage. He's still on pit road. Looks like you narrowly avoided it. So actually, the lights are going off. So quickly, give us your point of view, and we'll get you back to the race channel.
Yeah, just coming out of turn 4 there, or actually coming into the travel. All I saw was the 4 get into the outside wall, and then, as typical Daytona and Talladega goes, it's just on from there, and you're just holding on to your breath and pray for the best. And I got a 1 minute optional repair, so I'm going to come back out, try to see what I can salvage out of this.
All right, well, we'll get you back up there real quick. And again, that was the 56s. They're going green right there. Green flag is back out. Sorry, Jeff, I took too long. You didn't get any questions in.
Oh, that's fine. He was on pit road trying to get some repairs and get back out on that track, so we probably distracted him a little bit anyways.
Well, definitely getting those repairs done, as it looks like the 40 of Sal Casey is going to dip down. I'm not sure what is going on there, but he went from the front to all the way at the back here, and he didn't have any damage, so I'm not sure why he opted to dip off of the pace and go to the back, but he did so, and that's going to put the 12 of James Morgan at the front of this field now.
Yeah, not sure either. I don't know if he's going back to pick somebody up or something. He's got a teammate back there, and he's just going to go try to hook up with him, help him catch up to the pack or not. Sometimes if you're a lone car back there, you can go a lot faster if somebody comes back and runs with you, and if you're not too far back, you guys can catch back up to the pack.
Yeah, definitely could be that. And we'll see, there is the 56 of Mike Taylor out there. He is officially going to get passed again. He's going to try to tag along here to the this group. We'll see if he can do it. He does have a little damage to the front, not as much as I thought. I knew he had a little, but I don't think it's quite as much as I thought it was. So he barely squeaked out of that one. But his teammate now is going to be all by himself. Again, that is Clarence Bonner all by himself. So, you know, it's not going to pose a big problem for him here. You don't have those guaranteed teammates to work with you. This is at the point where you start making friends out there now.
Well, obviously, if your friends are all gone, yeah, you need to start making some new friends. But I think Alex Huckman and James Morgan up there leading both lanes are friends. So I'm not sure if this is a strategy to control both lines in the race or not right now, but it kind of looks like it.
And if it is a strategy, it's a very good one. You know, when you do that, it guarantees you 1 and 2. Obviously, that's going to be how you come across, unless one line somehow gets a ton of momentum where it's offset, maybe 6, 7 cars to 2, you could possibly get the momentum, as that's kind of how it's turning in right now, as it looks like the 12 of James Morgan is going to dip down in front of Alex Huffman, and now it's going to leave Trevor Graffam and Clarence Bonner out there by themselves. But here comes the 76 of Reese Milton, as well as, I'm not sure what car that is. That is the 51 of Brandon Young, a new driver here, going to be tagging along. So they got 4 versus about 8 cars.
Yeah, and 4 cars ought to be enough to get it done, but it doesn't look like anybody's really pressing it right now. I mean, we got about a half a car length between bumpers of each one of these cars. And as I say that, Alex Huffman starts to close the gap a little bit there on James Morgan, but we know that what slows these down is that rear spoiler, and the air coming over top of the car catch that rear spoiler, and really is what slows them down, as we see the 24 jump out of line there. And the closer you get to that car in front of you, the more air you can take off that spoiler, which means...
Oh, the 28's going around. Sorry, the 51 gets involved. Didn't mean to cut you off there, but a huge wreck happening.
Oh, I saw it happening as I was talking. I think I paused before you had the chance to cut me off. But Brian Bizzle goes around there, and not sure what precipitated it there.
Well, we're definitely going to go and find out here as we're watching the 28 of Brian Bizzle. I'm not sure if he had help from this. As let's go from the book.
Yeah, he had some help. Yeah, somebody from that top line looked like they come down and clocked his bottom. Not sure if that was Reese Milton or not. I think it was Reese Milton.
It did indeed was there from the blimp camera. We were watching. You can see the 76 get right into his back bumper, and that is the dreaded little hook around. That was a big hook. Usually they catch them just by rubbing the back bumper, but that was back quarter panel, and around went the 28, and that is going to do a ton of damage to his car. Again, we talked about it just a second ago. They do not have fast repairs here, so any damage you get means you will be on pit road taking care of that damage, unless you do the optional come back out or choose not to repair it at all. If it's optional damage, you can do that. However, if it's bad enough damage, as you can attest to here, being on the racing side more, if it's bad enough damage and it's required, you're sitting there on pit road for quite some time.
Yeah, required damage is just exactly what it sounds like. You blow an engine, or sometimes the damage is bad enough, they won't let you back out on the track, and you got to sit there in the pits for 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever that is. They assign a time value based on the severity, and you're just stuck.
You are indeed stuck on pit road, and so far, everybody, your top 16, 17 drivers that are out on the track coming down at pit road. No surprise there. We kind of figured they would. We'll keep an eye on that. We are actually going to step away for a quick commercial break. We will be right back here in just a few moments, and we'll let you know if anybody made any mistakes here on pit road.
Someone had to tumble and someone had to stand. Don't try to fight, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. It's too late to try, there's nothing you can do. I'm gonna run all over you. I'm looking for new blood, and nothing's gonna stop me now.
All right, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, lights are off on the pace car. That, of course, indicates we're going racing next time by. This is the Global Building Contractors Xfinity Series here for RACECORE on Virtual Racing Network. And right now, Brian Bizzle is on pit road, not officially out of the race yet. Brandon Young is out of the race, packed it up early, and Dennis Ellis did not start here tonight. Everyone else is on the racetrack right now. While there are several drivers that are multiple laps down, 19th through 25th are multiple laps down. Everyone else on the lead lap. So still 18 of the 25 drivers currently on the lead lap.
Yeah, Brian Bizzle went from leading this race to damaged on pit road in just a couple laps. That's how fast fortunes can trade as the green light drops, or the green flag drops, and James Morgan leads the field here across start finish line.
He does in the 40 of Sal Casey. On that restart, I'm not sure if you saw it, but he was actually pushing the 24 of Clarence Bonner across the line. He's going to push him again here. He gave him a nice shot. He didn't hit him hard to damage, but he definitely is pushing him, and that's what you need. But you got to be careful when you get that close. When you are physically touching them, that is when bad things can happen. But he just did it right there as he pushed them both ahead of the 12. And it looks like Clarence Bonner will be our new race leader if he can hold it till the line.
Yeah, we lost organization there in that bottom line there. A couple guys shuffled up the top because it got such a good move there. With that push by Sal Casey, that's exactly what you got to do if you're Sal Casey. Hopefully you're able to give that guy a little bit of a heads up, but you got to get up there, get your bumper on him, get him pushed to the front so you can get up there too. And then, of course, with James Morgan, everybody bailed on it because they thought that outside line was moving faster, and you kind of got left in no man's land there.
He definitely did get left there, and I want to point out here is we'll look to our top 10 drivers of James Lorello here. Looking at our top 10, actually even further down, just about every car in here is a Camaro. We do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Fords, 1 or 2 Camrys, but a lot of Chevrolets here in this series. So that seems to be the dominant manufacturer choice here. Some leagues you see a nice even spread of drivers in different manufacturers, but not so far here, as everyone is going with Chevy here.
Yeah, I'm not sure about manufacturer choice. Doesn't really make a difference in iRacing, but I did see a choice that was made, and that was for the 83 to drop back, pick up his teammate, the number 8. They are running bumper to bumper right now, so they're definitely trying to make their way through traffic. And we just saw them zigzag their way through that backpack there. Kind of got on their own. Now they're running down that front pack. So Mikey Neal and Alex Huffman working together right now and not messing around. They are trying to get caught up to that front pack. I think they're looking to go to the front of this and lead this race, but they're going to run down these guys here probably in about a lap or two.
Yeah, and for anyone that's joining us here that isn't familiar with plate racing here, you see the 8 of Mikey Neal. We try to mention this at least once so everyone that doesn't know can know. You'll see that 8 get right off, kind of offset from the 83 of his teammate. Obviously, he's not trying to pass him. He's trying to get up there and just get to his bumper and get clean air.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Charles. I think we might be having some stream issues here.
It's showing it up on my end.
Okay, I'm showing video playback interrupted here, so hopefully it's just me. But I am no longer able to pull our stream in.
That is very interesting, as I am unable to as well. We are still live, but for some reason it is not going through to YouTube. So let us know on Facebook if we're still live over there. Let's check that real quick. We're going to go up to these leaders real fast, and you give us a rundown kind of what's going on there. I'm going to check our feed over on Facebook and see how we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. We got Clarence Bonner in that 24 car, Team Beast, who we talked about earlier. got off that great start there. He is leading the race with Sal Casey, the guy that pushed him in that lead behind him, outside row. Looks like we got Trevor Graffam and the 76 of Reese Milton kind of working together there a little bit. James Morgan still kind of hanging with those guys on the inside there. And, if we look to the back of this first pack just a little bit there, it looks like Alex Huffman there and Mikey Neal have actually kind of run this group down here. And looks like most of these guys have partnered up a little bit. We got this kind of breakaway group here. And then, the next group's about 4 seconds behind them right now. So pack of four, things getting pretty spread out here at the moment.
Yeah, and while we're watching this, I'm not real sure what is going on at the moment here, as it is not on our end. YouTube, we are still streaming YouTube here, and the Facebook stream is still live. So something is going on the side of YouTube here that is unfortunately out of our control. But on the Facebook side, I don't know if they can hear us or not. But we are still live on the VRN Facebook page. If they can hear us, definitely share it out there. If they can't, let everyone know. But again, it is something apparently not on our end.
Yeah, I can confirm. Looks to me like the entire YouTube site is down. So much bigger forces at work than us here. We are not capable of such things.
No. However, I did pick the whole race to win one time in iRacing Crash, so apparently I'm capable of crashing all of iRacing by picking everyone to win the race. But unfortunately, even I am not good enough to crash all of YouTube, so we apologize. I don't know if this... it's still showing that we are streaming, so we'll continue as normal, and maybe it'll pop back up, and maybe it will show up later in the replay, but... we are still on YouTube here, or on Facebook, so we will continue as normal. We still have a live stream, but since that 24 is taking the lead of Clarence Bonner, he has not looked back. So him and that 40 of Sal Casey are working together really good, and now the 12 of James Morgan's working with him too.
Yeah, those three cars have kind of just teamed up to work together here, and they're running real tight there. It doesn't really give that outside lane much of a chance. They're going to need, the way these guys are tucked in and running together up front, they're going to need more than 3 cars to get it done, or they're going to have to actually put bumpers to each other like the inside car's doing here. Still not sure they can get it done the way this inside line is working right now. And just check Facebook comments. It looks like Jason Covington says his YouTube's working, so I'm even more perplexed now than I was a few seconds ago, but I personally am unable to get to anything on YouTube.
Yeah, I am too, unable. So Jason Covington, if you can hear us over there, obviously you're on the Facebook side. Let us know. Did you say it's working for you? Are you able to watch the race, or is that still not working and it's just the rest of YouTube that is working? Let us know on there. As again, very interesting dilemma going on here. But it looks like the 24 has now lost the lead, and somebody's in the grass here. I'm not sure who that is. The 46 of Tony Rice into the grass, and he will have an unsafe pit entrance, I'm sure, as he will pull it down the pit road. No caution coming out for him, though, as he was able to get it off the racing surface.
Yeah, meanwhile, we kind of broke up the band up here. We've got Sal Casey and the 40 leading the pack right now, and we got the 24 of Clarence Bonner up top there right now, working with the 47 of Trevor Graffam. So 3 cars were working together very, very well, but we got the 24 up front, and just as I say that, the 47 of Trevor Graffam leaves him hanging. So that's what we talked about earlier with knowing who's going to hang with you, who's going to work with you. Trevor Graffam seeing an opportunity to pick up the spot and possibly duck back out in front of the 24, ducks to the inside 24 out there in no man's land all by himself.
That definitely is. And even interesting, Jason Covington said the race is working on YouTube for him. So apparently it's just for select people that it's not working for. So we'll hopefully it'll show up in the replay and we'll just keep going. But Sal Casey out front here. Get our bearings together, as we've never had this happen before. Thank goodness for having Restream and be able to have more than one platform to stream to. But the 12 and the 24 both getting kind of shuffled back here as they're going to lose a few spots. But here comes the 47 of Trevor Graffam. He's going to pick them up. And trust me, he wants to work with them, but this is a benefit for him as they're exactly what was going to happen. He used the 12 and the 24 to get him to the lead, and he is your new race leader.
Yeah, Trevor Graffam tried to make some moves here, leaving the outside row. Had a feeling he was going to want to pop back out there. Great move by him, because by doing so, he leaves a gap between the 40 car of Sal Casey and the car behind him. It needs to close up in order for him to go, and that buys him enough time to easily go around that 40 car and duck back inside. And then, of course, with only 3 cars on the outside, he really doesn't leave them enough momentum, to come around with them and pull it. So they're going to need to probably pick up another car to make that work. So Trevor Graffam there with some great strategery there.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I think we may see somebody jump up and help that 12 and the 24. The real question is, who is it going to be? Is it going to be the 91, the 75, or maybe the 13? I don't know if I'll see the 13 of James Varello get up there. But right now, they don't need it. The 12 and the 24 pushing themselves past the 47 of Trevor Graffam to put James Morgan and Clarence Bonner in front, and they have the momentum to get by the 47, and they are back to the lead once again.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if I was sitting where that 13 is, I'd sure consider it right now, because he's still close enough that he'd get a little bit of draft suck up from them too. So not only would he boost the speed of those guys up front, but it would suck him right up to him. And he'd probably pick up a few spots regardless here. But just as we got somebody pull up there, man, the 12 and the 47 both ducked down in line. So giving up on that high line, we got some lap traffic coming up. Maybe that explains things a little bit here. We got some of those cars from the earlier wreck there running pretty slowly on the outside as Justin Starr gets trapped on the inside, and the pack of cars has got to split them through the middle. So some great navigation there by James Morgan, and I can only assume he's communicating on the radio, letting everybody know where he's going, because those guys did that superbly.
They did, and here goes the 24 to the outside. Now he's going to try to take the 47, and will he take the 40 with him as well as Sal Casey and Trevor Graffam? It looks like it's only going to be the 47, and there goes the 24 back to the front. So he will leave the 47 of Trevor Graffam out to dry. And that's what we were talking about earlier, stuff you don't necessarily want to do. Luckily, the 47 was able to tag back into the inside lane, as there's not a whole lot of cars up here in this front group. But those are the kind of moves that people will remember later in this race.
Well, we've said that there's really not, or we've talked about or noticed that there really isn't a lot of loyalty amongst this first group. And I think maybe a lot of that comes to the fact that there's just a lot of guys that I haven't noticed anyways run with these guys the last season. We got James Morgan, who ran the whole season. We got Trevor Graffam, who I think just ran part of the season. Jim Locking's up there now, but you got Clarence Bonner, Sal Casey, I think Bill Edwards. There's 3 out of the first 6 guys there that I believe are certainly didn't run the entire season last season. So maybe still looking for who they can work with, who they fit in with, but. Irregardless, I don't see a whole lot of loyalty up there amongst the leaders.
Yeah, there's definitely not. Their goal right now is to get the win. And while we're watching this lead group here, we'll look for some more battles going on. There's little groups all over. We are keeping an eye on chat. We're trying to see if we can figure out more information. And we did get information that Jason Covington's, that was working for him in chat, he was actually on an iPhone. So that could be playing a factor into it. But Jason Allison also saying that YouTube is having technical difficulties for a lot of people. Unfortunate that it happened right here in the middle of a broadcast, but we're definitely glad for Restream saving the day, as we are still able to continue as normal.
Yeah, I've actually had the YouTube feed come back and go away a couple times there while you were talking, so looks like they're working to restore something. Unfortunately, we're back offline again, at least as far as I can tell. But like you said, we are going strong here on Facebook, and the stream's still live. So by the time these guys get to watch at the end of the race, we should have a nice complete video here for them.
Yeah, and we won't kill that YouTube stream because we are hopeful that when it's all said and done, we still are pushing it out. So the replay should still be there, we hope. We're getting word that it's a database issue. Good news is, and I quote, this is from YouTube, they have their highly trained monkeys working on it. That is actually what YouTube tells you when it goes down. So they're working on that. So we're going to go back to working on this race, and we may see some green flag pit stops coming up here shortly if they need to pit. I'm not sure what their fuel level is. I know you might have access to that, but we only have 17 laps to go.
Yeah, it's I guess what I would consider to be about go time here now. If you're not up front, you got to be thinking about getting up front. If you're not in this lead pack, you got to be hoping for a caution. And I think with these guys having restricted fuel loads, I don't remember exactly what they are, but I'm pretty sure 39 laps is probably a little bit further than I think they can run. So we may here at some point see some guys thinking about peeling in for a splash of gas. As we see the two teammates there, Mikey Neal, Alex Huffman, two other cars too. Didn't see who all that was. So 4 cars right now peeling off for a splash of gas.
They are, and the 6th really has to get onto the brakes of Matthew Ellis. He really had to lock him up to not get into Mikey Neal. Everyone in that group looks like they're going to make fairly good stops here for the most part. I'm going to lose my voice here one way or another. The 83, though, having troubles. He has to back up on pit road, so that is not good for Mikey Neal, as that was his teammate.
Yeah, well, he's got a whole pack at least that he's running with right now, so it shouldn't slow these guys down too much.
That will definitely won't hurt them too terribly bad here. I would imagine, I don't know when it's going to happen, but those front 4 are probably going to come down together. I'm sure they're going to work with each other, and if they come down, I would imagine the 75 of Bill Edwards and the 13 of James Lorella will probably come down with them. But these guys are going to have to do this perfectly, especially for those front 3. If you look just how close they are together, they are going to have to time it perfectly. Otherwise, you will probably see somebody in the back bumper of somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know how long these guys have worked together. I don't think they probably have worked that much together, in which case you'll probably see some guys lifting off that corner and that gap widen before they come into pit. These guys probably be a little bit nervous to be pitting bumper to bumper to bumper if they haven't done it with each other a few times in practice at least. So it actually may cost them a little bit of time here, as they'll probably have to spread out a little bit just to ensure they don't kill each other.
Yeah, and if you got people like Alex Huffman, Mikey Neal, these guys, if they're coming down pit road, they can't make it on fuel, because those are very competitive racers, very strategic racers, as it looks like here, Bill Edwards and James Lorello on pit road right now. They already came down while your leaders have not, so they are going to go probably a lap down once by the time they actually catch them, as the rest of these guys did. But there come your leaders, your lead 4 coming down pit road, and I'm not sure the 12's coming down. Yeah, there he is.
12's coming down. I think he was just staying to the inside. Again, that's part of the choreography. If you guys haven't called it out who's going where ahead of time, I think 12 was just staying to the extreme as close to the road as he could so he could bail out of there. If a couple of guys looked like they were kind of interfering with each other. So I think the 12 was just hedging his bets there.
He was indeed. And everybody's going to, but the 40 having problems on pit road of Sal Casey. He's having to back up several times and pull forward. The rest of his group is going to pull off now as they are leaving. So that is going to be unfortunate as he is getting off. He still gets off somewhat with them, but we've seen that more and more lately where people are having problems on pit road.
Yeah, that's going to hurt that whole group, because basically we had 2 guys jump out of there, and that's not enough to keep pace. I mean, you really need about 3 or 4. So they're actually probably going to, they're just going to hope they merge in with somebody, because Sal Casey's too far back, or not Sal Casey, I'm sorry, the 24 car there of Clarence Bonner is just too far back to be impacting that draft. So The 2 cars ahead of him there, James Morgan being one of those in that 12 car, and Trevor Graffam. I don't think this worked out the way they wanted it to. And, they might be able to get James Larillo and Bill Edwards there. They've got about a second and a half back, and that is kind of the extent of that draft there. It may be enough, but I don't think they've. I don't think it's gonna be enough to pull them up fast. So I think this is gonna kill them. And you got to look at that pack that pit first. That group of about 5 or 6 cars and got out of there with most of them is probably the group that's making the best time right now.
Yeah, they definitely are. So we'll see right now. Your leaders are those 2 that came in right before your lead pack did. Bill Edwards and James Larillo. I think they made a good call coming in a lap earlier than those 2. Plus, like we just talked about, that's a little bit of trouble on there, causing some problems here. But it looks like those 2 are going to trade spots. And we haven't mentioned it, but those 2 are teammates as well. Based off their paint job, they're running identical paint jobs here tonight, just different colors.
Yeah, unfortunately, something a little weird here at Trading Paints. I'm not able to pull down all paint jobs and see everybody that's running together. But those 2 I am able to see, along with the Beast team there. So I can tell that those are identical paint jobs. These guys clearly are working together, and they're working to get past right now by the 12 and the 47 of James Morgan and Trevor Graffam right now. So thought these guys might get in line together and try to put some distance between that bigger pack that's about 4 seconds behind them but coming. That one with Jim Locking, Mikey Justified, Neal, Alex Huffman, and those guys in it.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to get interesting here. We have a side-by-side battle. The 75 having to go way down below the line to Bill Edwards as he's trying to avoid the 4 of, I believe that's Jeremy Evans. And that is going to break that group up here. And that separates him from his teammate. But the 12 and the 47 were working together. So that is not good for James Larillo, who is currently a race leader and just lost his teammate.
Well, speaking of good, though, for somebody, it looks like Jim Locking and Mikey Neal somehow got separated from Alex Huffman, Clarence Bonner, some of these other guys. Well, Clarence Bonner wasn't part of that. He ended up with them. But so they don't have that big pack that I thought they had. I go back, I see Mikey Neal and Jim Locking kind of off there by themselves, which means they're just not really going to carry that much speed and run these guys down as fast as I thought. They've got about 5 seconds now between them, 4 seconds between them and that pack ahead of them. And, with 8 laps to go, I don't think they're going to do it. They're going to need a caution to suck this up, or else, we got to look at that front group, Trevor Graffam, James Earl, and James Morgan for probably our winner there.
Definitely have to watch those, as Trevor Graffam now going to be the race leader. It's still a little battle going on there. While it's only 3 cars, it's making for some really interesting racing, to say the least, as you have to pick someone you're going to work with. So you have Trevor Graffam, James Larillo, and James Morgan in here battling, and you've got to, pick a line. So those front 2 are going to be inside-outside. Really, the winner can be determined by which line the 3rd car decides to push. However, we could see a possible 3 wide. We could see this thing go 3 wide for the win.
Well, we got a lap car in the mix, too. The 76 of Reese Milton, like it or not, he's on pace. He may be a lap down, but he is a car that is draftable right now. He's in the mix. He's trying probably, it looks like, not to be a part of that. I'm sure he'd like to drive his lap back, but he very well could end up determining who wins this by just who he gets behind right now. As we see, he's in the outside line behind the 13 of James Larillo, providing a good push on his bumper. May actually just push James Larillo to the lead here right now.
And it's funny, I don't know if you were seeing it, but James Larillo was blinking on my screen, was on the inside in between the 47 and the 12, blinked out, came back in right in front of the 76. So I'm not sure. Doesn't look like it's on our end, so he may be having some issues there. this is going to be a too wide, too deep battle here. But don't say it's over just yet. We talked about him. Here comes the 75 of Bill Edwards. He's still in that draft even after all that. He is not done yet. He may put some kind of say into who wins this race.
Bill Edwards definitely still in that draft at about 3/4 of a second back. He's on the verge of losing it, but you know, he could also get sucked up here to these guys and catch that big run. It looks like Bill Edwards is starting to lose it as he falls further and further back. Again, here's an opportunity for the lap car. If Reese Milson just dropped back a little bit, he'd pull Bill Edwards right up to him. So Bill Edwards, if he can get a run on this group and use that draft to suck up, may be able to use that extra momentum to pull himself around these guys and right into the lead. So he's falling further and further back. It doesn't look like it bodes well for him. It looks like he's losing it, but if they can pick up another car or somebody, maybe even the 56 here that he can draft behind to catch himself up, maybe all he needs.
And we have 5 laps to go. This is the point of no return. If caution was to come out, it would end the race. And I went back here just now. We got Mikey Neal, Alex Huffman, Clarence Bonner, and Jim Locking. They have locked together here, single file for 4 cars. 5 laps to go. We'll go to Bill Edwards here. So that gap is still pretty big. I don't know if they're going to have time to catch them. But they are definitely trying to run them down the best they can, but I just don't think they have the time to do it here. So I have a feeling our winner is probably going to be, unless something drastic happens, it's going to come from the 47, the 13, or the 12.
Yeah, there's no way that backpack and that second pack can run them down. As a matter of fact, Bill Edwards, we can pretty much officially count him out. He's lost the draft. He's dropping like a rock now. So we got a 4-car pack with 3 of them being in the lead lap. And like you said, unless something happens and they all take each other out, your winner's going to come from this group. And Reese Milton may be the guy, even though he's a lap down, that gets to pick which one of them is going to be the winner.
Yeah, and, you know, we've watched many super speedway racing like this. I personally think our odds of having a wreck between these front 4 cars here, one of them being a lap down, is probably greater than it would be if we had 20 cars up here. That sounds really backwards from what you might think, but you know, when you have 20 cars and you're back in 10th, 12th, you don't have as good a shot as getting the win as you do, say, if you're in 3rd. So you may try something a little gutsier to try to get that win. So I think we have a better shot of these guys probably getting into a wreck here, coming to the line with 3 than I think.
Yeah, we got a couple laps to go here, man. And we got 3 cars battling it out. So, you know, it's time for some aggressive driving here. You know, as we're watching James Zarello move back and forth between lines, he's looking for any kind of way to get past one of these guys. And Reese Milton, he keeps getting dropping back and sucking up in that draft. He's trying hard not to get in the mix here, but he's going to have to commit to a line here shortly because they will split up. They're not going to go single file this whole last lap.
They are not, and there it is, 1 lap to go, presented by Northwest Racing Series. This 1 lap to go here in the Global Building Contractors Xfinity Series, race 1 of 12. And we'll see who is it going to be in victory lane. The 12 pushing the 47, the 76 pushing the 13, as they have decided to go too wide again. And it looks like the 13 has the momentum as he tried to get down, I think, here, but just couldn't do it.
Yeah, Reese Milton fell out of line coming off that corner. He pushed wide coming off that corner. Thought he had the run that he needed to push the 13 of James Zarilla to the lead, but Reese Milton stepped out of line, and the 47 of Trevor Graffin crosses it on the apron, but he crosses first. He's our winner.
He is indeed Trevor Graffin getting the win here tonight for race number 1 of the Global Building Contractors Xfinity Series here at Daytona under the lights. And what a battle. I knew we'd see something a little crazy at the line. Luckily, they were able to hang on to it, and no wrecks did happen. A little beating and banging, but no major wrecks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sorry about that, Charles. Having a little bit of an issue here, man. Facebook was telling us it was offline there too for a second. So
yeah, we did have a little bit of internet intermission there. We lost a few frames. We did get bad showing back online for me now, but we'll get to the unofficial results. We're going to check on YouTube one more time here to see if it happens to be back up. It is indeed. We got people saying it's working. Jason Covington, we see chat now, but we don't see the video, so that is unfortunate. Hopefully it will be back for everyone to watch later, but it is over on the YouTube side of things. But Jeff, we know you need to get off to practice, so we'll let you go, and we're going to hop over to the post-race show. So thanks for coming in today or tonight, and hopefully we'll talk to you later tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. As always, the RACECORE guys are just a joy to watch. So just give my congratulations there, and I'll come back and catch your post-race show later there, Charles.
All right. Well, good luck, and again, we'll talk to you later.
Bet.
All right. Well, before we get to your rest of your post-race show, we'll get to your unofficial race results. Of course, getting the win here tonight is going to be the 47 of Trevor Graffam. Second place is going to be the 12 of James Morgan. And third place is going to be the 13 of James Zarello. Fourth place will be the 8 of Mikey Neal. And fifth place will be the 83 of Alex Huffman. In sixth place is going to be Clarence Bonner. Seventh place, Jim Locking. Eighth place, Bill Edwards. Ninth place, Bryson Barker. 10th place, David Gainforth. 11th will be Matthew Ellis. 12th, Sal Casey. 13th, Jameer Muhammad. 14th, Reese Milton. 15th, Brian Jones. 16th, Mike Taylor. 17th, Brian Dorsey. 18th, Dan Butler. 19th, Brian Bizzle. And 20th, we'll go to Justin Starr. 21st, we'll go to Jeremy Evans. 22nd, Scotty Zerk. 23rd, Tony Rice. 24th, we'll go to Brandon Young. And 25th, rounding out your fields here tonight, we'll go to Tyler Rowland, as that will do it here for your unofficial race results. We are going to step away, get ready for the post-race show coming up here in just a few minutes. We will be right back. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, after a few difficulties there, YouTube is still deciding it wants to do its own thing here tonight. I don't know if y'all can hear us. If you can, if you got Facebook, head on over to the Facebook side of things. We are still live on there here for the post-race show. Of course, we do have third place here with us to start with, and that is the 13 of James Zarello. Finishing in third, you started 17th. You led 2 laps. So definitely for the first race of a 12-race series, it's kind of crucial to get a good point start here. You did that with third place. You'll get some bonus points for leading a lap. So overall, go over this race as... especially those last probably 10 laps, it was getting really interesting with those front 3 passing lap cars and trading the lead back and forth.
The whole race, I was just trying to stay out of those wrecks and keep it clean. Me and my teammate Bill pitted, and he had a little damage, unfortunately, so we couldn't stay ahead. We came out 1-2, but then those last 10 laps, you know, these cars suck up so good. It was just a matter of trying to make a move at the right time. But with only 3 of us there, it was hard to find a partner. Reese was doing the best he could a lap down to push me, but just wasn't enough at the end.
Yeah, definitely. It would have been cool to see a few more up there battling for the lead. But they're about, I think it was, what, 17, 20 laps ago. It kind of got spread out, especially with the pit stops coming in there. We knew y'all weren't going to make it on fuel. And once again, we saw some people having issues on pit road where they couldn't get their cars serviced. We've seen that quite a bit. I'm beginning to think that is something here on iRacing that is a glitch that they're going to have to try to fix. But coming into this series here, or any series where you start at Daytona, what is the mindset coming into this race for you, knowing that, you know, it's a lot of skill, but it's also a lot of luck online, to know that this is like your foundation for the series?
Yeah, and that's really the mentality, is just try and get a top 5 out of it. Because if you can do that, you can start the series off right. You know, I'm pretty confident in the rest of the tracks, and you know, I think we have one more restrictor plate, so this cuts one of them out.
Yeah, it definitely does. So overall, though, you did a fantastic job here. Just a crazy race, a great race. We had 9 different leaders, you being one of them. So we know you got some sponsors and shout-outs. So who would those be for that 3rd place finish here tonight?
Yeah, I just want to give a shout out to Global Building Contractors for sponsoring the series. It's going to be great, awesome for these 12 weeks. Thanks to Justin and Dan for everything that they do, and my team at S2R with Bill Edwards. Hope we can take 1-2 in the series. We'll see.
Well, definitely, we look to see some great things from you here in this series. Again, only 11 races after tonight, finishing in 2nd place, 1 spot ahead. Started 6th, you finished 2nd. You also led 9 laps here tonight, and that, of course, is the 12 of James Morgan. First off, congrats on 2nd. Same thing, great start to the season. So looking forward to the rest of this one. As it feel good to know that you came to the track where Lady Luck plays a big factor into it, and you survived.
Yeah, it does. Overall, it was a pretty good race. I was able to stay up near the front for the most part of the race, and I knew that would be a big key in getting a big finish. Don't want to fall too far back. Maybe take a bigger chance of getting involved in something big. But like you said, it's a big chance here because the big wreck can start in 1st place. It don't really matter.
Yeah, definitely. You got a full season here still to go, or I say full season. 12 races technically isn't a full one, but that's an iRacing season, so it's 12 races, 11 after this. I'm not sure. I think we do run Talladega. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't looked at the full schedule. But the plate track out of the way, we still have a good schedule ahead. So looking forward to the schedule. If you've looked at it, are there any tracks that you're not looking forward to going to, or some that you are really looking forward to that you think you have a good shot at?
I believe Atlanta is next week. I have not ran there in forever, so it would be pretty big to get some practice in maybe this upcoming weekend and go from there with that. But as far as looking further ahead, I'm not too sure about all the tracks we run. I think there is Talladega in there, so that'll be another one like this one. But Atlanta right now is kind of the big concern.
Well, Atlanta is, I think, a concern on just about everybody's list, as it does get the name Hot Atlanta. It will probably be a pretty warm surface, assuming it is a day race. Night race won't be quite as bad, but that is definitely a track to look out for everybody. Should be on everybody's radar anyway. That being said here, it is a Monday night, so we don't want to keep you here, or Tuesday night, sorry. We don't want to keep you here too late, as I'm sure you got work in the morning. This is a weekday, but do you have any sponsors on that car you need to thank, or just anyone you want to give a shout out to? Hopefully they'll be able to watch it on YouTube later, as it decided to go haywire tonight.
Yeah, I want to send a shout out to Global Building Contractors. A huge shout out to them for sponsoring this series again. I want to thank Dan Butler Designs and iRacing Drivers World as well for all that they do. Give a shout out to Trevor. Me and him worked a lot here together tonight, and we're able to finish 1-2, so that turned out pretty well.
Well, it definitely works really good for both of you. I guess you get a 1-2 finish. And speaking of first place, that is the 47 of Trevor Graffam. It led 10 laps, started 7th, obviously finished first here tonight. And I believe this is the first time I have got to talk to you here in Victory Lane. So congrats on the win. Same question here. Lady Luck was on your side here tonight. You get the win at Daytona against 25 very fierce competitors. So in general, to get a win, how does it feel? And then how does it feel to get a win here at Daytona against 24 other cars out here that all wanted that win just as bad?
It feels great. I actually won the very first race here that we did with these cars. So I'm pretty confident at this track with my speed and able to work the draft. And you just got to find a good drafting partner. And James helped me out a lot. He could have wrecked me on that last lap, but he didn't.
Well, definitely, skill is a very important thing here if you know this track very well. We'll have to go back and look at that. I'm not sure. I guess we were broadcasting it. So we have done so many RACECORE races. We've been here for quite some time now. We definitely enjoy the league. A lot of great drivers here, including yourself. Outstanding. Same question we want to ask you coming up. Are there any tracks that, like this one, that you are very good at, familiar with, that you like? Or are there any that you're not looking forward to? As we heard, James wasn't particularly looking forward to Atlanta.
Basically any mile and a half. I have speed on them, but just being consistent for the whole race is what I got to work on. The short tracks I'm good at too, so I'm looking forward to those.
Well, we're definitely going to be looking to see you in Victory Lane more often, as you were here tonight, of course. So before we get to your sponsors and shout-outs, I got to losing my voice a little. Same question we talked to them about is those after that pit stop on lap, we said I think it was like 15 to go, 17 to go, somewhere in there. That really spread this field out. There wasn't as big a groups going on. When that happened, that kind of changed things, as we saw. That was when people had problems on pit road. There was a very small group of cars going for the lead. There was only 3 of you with a lap car in there, and we saw there at the very last second, you had to go below the yellow line here and got a little out of shape there. I'm not sure if you got bumped or what happened, but did you think there for a second you might have possibly lost the lead, or were you pretty still confident in getting the win?
Yeah, when we came out of the pits, I hooked up with James because I knew 2 cars, you hook them together and you're going to catch them really quick. In that last lap, I tried to throw a little block, and he was nice and kind of lifted, and it got me a little squirrely, but I was able to save it.
Well, you definitely saved it good to get the win. That being said, of course, do you have any sponsors on the car you need to thank, or anyone out there, hopefully, again, watching on YouTube, if it is up after this, and on Facebook, that you want to give a shout-out to?
Yeah, I just want to thank Global Building Contractors for sponsoring us, and Justin and Dan and RACECORE for all that they do. This is by far the best league on iRacing, and I'm in a few leagues, but I love this one. It's all good drivers.
Well, definitely some great drivers here. Again, all 3 of you included, and everyone else here. But before we sign off for the night, we want to thank all those sponsors and partners as well here on the racing side of things. Big shout out, of course, to Dan Butler Designs, Leo's Coney Island out of Rochester Hills, iRacing Drivers World, and of course the presenting sponsor here for tonight's race and this series, that is Global Building Contractors. Make sure you check them out on the internet. Just Google Global Building Contractors. You may be surprised where you've been that they've had a hand in building. So check them out at Global Building Contractors. And of course, on the broadcast side of things, we wouldn't be where we were here for the 2018 year if it wasn't for the following partners: Walls Beard Co., Sim Speed Shop, Northwest Racing Series, iBog, and of course Ohio IndyCar League. Big shout out to all of these partners for coming on board. That will do it though for tonight's race. We hope you will join us tomorrow night on YouTube and Facebook, as tomorrow night is Wednesday, so we will have the Upper Edge race 1 of 3 here in the round 4, followed by the Northwest Truck Series at 10:30. So 7:15 and 10:30, 8:30 Pacific. So make sure you stay tuned for that. You can check out our Facebook page for all the latest information. Till then, we will see you at the next broadcast.